I'm going to talk to you guys about the gold to silver ratio. Technically, it's a silver to gold ratio. How many ounces of silver does it take to buy 1 ounce of gold? But sources like where I'm showing you these charts from, this is from long-term trends. They're going to call it the gold to silver ratio. So some of these charts, like this one I'm showing you now on screen, it goes back to 1693. But anything before around the Vietnam War, Nixon, when he removed the US dollar from the gold standard, that was a different world on each side of the fence, so to speak. So ignore all the really old historical data. Look at around 1972-ish on. That's when it matters, because it was a different economic setup then. And what happened since we removed the gold standard from the US dollar? It became a fiat currency. It was backed by nothing. And what happened then? The point was, when gold was attached to the US dollar, it kept governments from overspending, wild spending. We removed the attachment of gold to the US dollar and we just ran wild, we ran rampant. And the entire economy was based now on just creating more money and trying to make sure that we have enough people to buy it. Like Japan and China, they can buy all our debt so that we can maintain this lifestyle we're accustomed to. Because there's no fiscal or economic guardrails at that point when it's not attached to something real like gold. It doesn't even have to be the US dollar. It could be wood chips you pick up off the ground and say, well, these wood chips are worth $1 million, and people, or like, for example, the $1 trillion coin. That's my point. Like, they're saying things like that, and it's obviously insanity, but everyone just goes along with it. But let's look more in recent time to show you this gold to silver ratio, which is actually the silver to gold ratio. 1919, it took 18.44 ounces of silver to buy 1 ounce of gold. Those are the good old days. Think about that. Silver was very valuable in comparison to gold at that point. That was a low point for the gold to silver ratio. But in 1940, it took 99.76 ounces of silver to buy 1 ounce of gold. And if you want to go much more recently, in 2020, how many ounces of silver did it take to buy 1 ounce of gold? 104 ounces of silver, 104.98 ounces of silver to buy 1 ounce of gold. But hey, that was 3 years ago. A lot has changed since then. What do you think how many ounces of silver do you think it takes to buy 1 ounce of gold now? They call it gold to silver. Silver to gold ratio, what is it now? It's just over 80 ounces of silver for 1 ounce of gold. If you want to look at the historical averages over the last 80 years, the historical average price of how many silver to buy gold would be approximately 50. That was an 80-year historical average range, close enough to 50. But what about the last 10 years? You want to zoom in more to more recent history? It would take, in a 10-year period, the average is that it would take about 75 ounces of silver to buy 1 ounce of gold. But I think it helps a lot to look at this next chart where we're looking from 1972 until now. I was born in 1973, so basically from when I was born, that's about when Nixon was president, when the Vietnam War ended. This is the performance, both on one chart, of gold and silver from that point until now. Over that period, basically my entire life, gold has gone up 5,593%, while silver in that time period went up 1,488%. So gold was the much better performer over a long period of time. But what does this all mean? Can you say, well, I think that the gold to silver ratio is going to change one way or the other, and then you can invest to make money off of it? Maybe you'd be successful, probably not. Don't think about looking for an investment opportunity from something that takes so long to play out. A lot of times people say things, or I'll say things like, real estate's going to come down, and then 6 months later they say, well, what's happening? It's still doing well or whatever. Just wait. It's the amount of time that things take to play out in the economy. It operates at the speed of the economy. I always say that companies operate on the speed of business. In my opinion only, none of this is personalized trading advice for you, I don't think there's a lot of great angles to make any money by playing the gold to silver ratio. But I think it's important to understand that things like silver and gold both just increase in value over time. You should have exposure to both, in my opinion. You say, but don't they come down in price sometimes? Yes, they do. In the longer term time frame, it's like tuning a radio dial to get the station to come in better. In the short term and medium term, anything can happen. Longer term, the trend for all commodities, anything that you're going to need US dollars to buy, is for them to seem like they're increasing in price. It isn't actually a play on gold or silver. It's a play on the US dollar. Political uncertainty, military conflicts, risk premiums, demand trends, and everything. And I told you this in the video recently. Everything is saying, buy gold, buy gold. And who's doing it? The Chinese are doing it through proxy investors to keep their purchases hidden, but they're also obviously buying a lot of gold that's coming out of Switzerland going straight to China. And a big part of that, and Russia too, and a lot of other countries are trying to, such as the BRICS countries, Brazil, Russia, India, China, South Africa, trying to have their own currency, which is backed by gold, which if they have that, they get to that point, then I would rather own the currency backed by gold than a fiat currency like the US dollar. But if I'm living in the States, I want US dollars to live my life, to buy things. You're not going to buy stuff in the States with euros. You could, but you're not going to. You're going to keep the US dollar. I'm just saying, comparatively, FX trade, anything backed by gold will have resilience. It will have a long life cycle ahead of it, and it will seem to strengthen in relation to all other currencies that are fiat as gold holds its value. Gold is gold is gold. What is the value of gold? It's never changed. I've told you this before. The value of gold has never changed. It's always been equal to gold. Gold is gold. And it's about the currency's values trading around that, where US dollar declines in value, oh, gold prices are going up. US dollar strengthens in value, oh, gold prices are going down. It's not about gold, it's about the currencies that you buy it with. Please understand that nothing in this video is intended as personalized trading advice for you. If you'd like to see our world famous stock picks, plus all the questions and answers that I have with a lot of the lifetime subscribers that goes in the newsletter, all of that, it's in the newsletter, the Peter Leeds newsletter.